everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera show. You know, the holidays are right around the corner. And so with that, I thought, well, we're going to have a pecan party because it's one of my favorite ingredients to use during the holidays. So I've invited Al and Mary Pearson from Pearson Farms to join me today, and we are going to have an amazing time. You know, I've been down to their farm during peach season, and you've learned all about that crop, but today you're going to learn more about their pecan crop. So Mary and I are going to do two recipes together. We're going to start with a pecan crusted salmon that you can do as an entree or as an entree salad. And then a pecan dump cake. This is the easiest recipe, but your kitchen will smell amazing and your guests are going to love it. So we've got a lot to do today. We're going to start with talking to Al all about pecans. So let's get started. All right, so I am so excited to introduce all of you to my friend, Al Pearson. Al, I'm so happy to have you.
Whew, happy to be here.
Well, you know, when I came down in the spring, in the middle of peach season, and we went all in the fields, y'all had us over for dinner. I mean, we just had the best time, and I thought, you know, it's time for you to come to Augusta. And with pecan season in place, we just thought that would be perfect. So my first question to you is, for your company, for your farm, which came first, the pecan or the peach?
My great-grandfather moved into the area in 1885, and I believe that he came down because of the peach industry and how it was really growing, and especially in Georgia, the peach state. Then along the way, they began to plant pecans, sometimes in the same acre. We had peaches and pecan trees. They kind of grew together, but I believe the start was peaches.
Oh man, well, the pecan season is certainly something this time of year. You just don't really think about holiday baking without everything having a pecan in it. So kind of walk us through the process of how you get a pecan tree going and how long it takes to produce.
Oh. A pecan tree is a lot slower than a peach tree. If you plant a pecan tree nowadays with the varieties that we have, you might start picking up a few pecans in 5, 6, 7 years.
Oh, wow.
But not many. Mm-hmm. And so according to how many trees you plant to the acre, that tells you how much possible production you could have. So after 10 years or so, you've begun to pick up really enough nuts to hopefully make some money. Mm-hmm. But pecan trees last, we have pecan trees that are over 100 years old and still producing. And peach trees in our area don't live but 12 years or so. So it's a little different deal, but pecans are long lasting, and they're a little slower. I describe the peach industry as somewhat violent because you've got frost and you need cold weather, and then you've got hail, and then the picking process.
You turn into a weatherman.
Exactly. You look at that every day, and then the picking and the harvesting, and you cool them, and it's just a lot of activity.
It's a hot mess.
And pecans, all that time that you're doing that, they're just sitting there growing.
They've gotten wise.
They
it's
have.
Like you said, they're 100 years old, some of them.
They want to get out of the way. And so about October 15th, mm-hmm. we began to shake the trees. We've been taking care of them and fertilizing and water, and now we start shaking, and the pecan orchard in the fall is just, with this type weather, is just a wonderful place to be.
Gosh, yes.
And the nuts.
Okay, so on shaking the tree, that's like a tractor. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a big machine.
Whoa.
And it grabs the trunk of the tree or maybe the limb, and then it
kind of like I did my sons when they were little.
Exactly. and pecans fall out, and anything that's up there will fall out also. Squirrels and raccoons and limbs.
Oh,
so
man.
you have to watch. You don't want to be standing up under it, but it's and you can feel the ground shake. And so that puts them on the ground, and then we have tractors that have sweepers on them, and they sweep them in a row. And then we have something that looks like a combine that picks up that row of leaves and sticks and everything and blows out the trash and leaves the nuts and put them in a hopper. Then they come to the packing house, which is also the pecan cleaning plant.
Wow.
And you further separate them from all the trash. And then we have a shelling operation that takes the shell off. Some people like to crack pecans themselves, and it's therapeutic maybe, and it's calming.
My grandmother did it religiously.
Absolutely, but we feel like most people really are interested in pecans that are shelled. And so we shell them, and then with Mary's guidance and appetite, or what talent, we started cooking pecans.
Right.
And that's a different business, but it's tough to be around it when the ovens are full of cinnamon pecans, and it's real hard to
Well,
to walk
I mean,
by.
even yesterday when we were testing some of these recipes, the fragrance is amazing. And you know, as a former home economics teacher, one of the things that I would tell the students is when you can start smelling it, you need to check it.
Right.
You know, you need to check what it is. And this is probably when you were talking about shaking the trees, that outside skin on the pecan. So if it actually comes off the tree that's ready to be harvested.
Yeah, we usually shake trees a couple of times. If you shake them too hard, you'll shake off nuts that are too green.
Right, that was
Yeah.
what I intended. Well, this is so interesting, and you know, I'm going to put you back in the kitchen with us in just a little bit, but y'all stick around because we're going to get started on a salad, and you're going to meet his lovely wife, Mary. Hey, welcome back, everybody. If you're just joining me, we are doing pecans today. We're having a pecan party at the cottage, and I've introduced you to Al Pearson, and we learned all about how they harvest and grow the pecans down in Fort Valley. And now this is his wife, Mary. And Mary, I told you earlier that my two sons were going to be Mary if they were girls. It's my favorite girl's name. So we're so happy to have you today, and we are going to do a salmon dish today that is coated with pecans. So I had a little bit that I had to do in advance, but before we get going with that, I would love to ask you how you met Al.
Well, we met during Rush in Athens, and I had just transferred there.
Okay.
So, and I was from Atlanta. He was from a small town, and he said he farmed. So when he brought me to Fort Valley and we looked at the farm, I said, "There's nothing but trees here. This isn't a farm." I was looking for pigs and cows.
Oh my goodness.
But it was definitely a farm, and I'm glad there weren't pigs and cows on the farm. But my father just loved him and loved the fact that I was going to marry a farmer.
Well, and because you grew up in Atlanta, like you said, so you were a city girl. So what did you think about moving to the country?
Well, the only thing I thought is that I loved my husband, and I never had been married living in Atlanta, so I didn't look twice.
Oh, that is such a great story. Well, we just really loved getting to know you and Al both, and I'm so excited to do an entree with pecans today, because I think people immediately think of sweet rolls and cakes and pies and that sort of thing, but it's just a great savory dish as well. So these are your Elliott halves, and we'll talk more about those in just a few minutes, but I put a little bit of butter, like a tablespoon of butter, in a saucepan, and we just toasted those for about 5 minutes. So this is the sauce that's going to go on top of these salmon fillets that I picked up at the fresh market. So if you will add the freshly chopped parsley to that, and then we've got the Fresh Market's olive oil, which I absolutely love. They have a certain olive oil that they use for marinades and sauces, which is what this is. And then this is Himalayan sea salt. Isn't it pretty? Yeah, and then some freshly ground pepper. So if you'll just mix that around, and then the salmon fillets, you know, we all have our favorite things that you order at your favorite restaurant or that you run in and pick up at the grocery store. And honestly, probably every other week I'm buying salmon for us to either cook on the grill or cook in the oven. I just love this product. All right, so I'm going to take that from you And we are going to start putting this on top of each of these fillets.
And salmon is so good for you, and so are pecans.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
it's a great combination.
Well, tell me a little bit about this Elliott pecan. And all this time, I've thought that Elliott was named for a person. So the Elliott pecan is a variety.
Right, and it's was called a junior nut, or considered a junior nut, and most people would want mammoth. But when we started selling this, we actually had more trees planted at the Elliott than anybody else that we knew of. So, and there's more oil in it. Mm-hmm. So we were doing an article for New York Times, and it was the first nut that was ready, so we just really boasted and said, boy, this is the best nut ever. As it turned out, it really is.
And it really is.
Yeah.
Well, and Al brought some nuts that have just been harvested, and they're just beautiful right off the tree. You know, so many times I end up with some of my nuts in the freezer and I'll pull them out, but to see them literally right off the tree. So we are preheating the oven to 375. These are going to cook for about 10 minutes. And when we come back from the break, we're going to get started on a pecan dump cake. And I'm going to make Al come in here and help us. How about that?
Right.
So come back with us in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, and I'm with my pals. I'm with Al and Mary Pearson, and I hope you've enjoyed what we've done so far. And you know, Al, you said you didn't always get in the kitchen all that much.
That's right.
Is there any particular reason for that?
I'm not good at it.
Well, that's why we picked this recipe today, because this is no fail. This is the pecan dump cake. You know, I'm known as the cake lady, so using a cake mix is like very foreign to me. But you know, there's going to be that time when Mary's been busy all day long and she needs a quick dessert. This could be something that she could make. So we're going to start with allowing we've already sprayed the pan, and this is crushed pineapple. And one of the things I love about our cookbooks is that you would see that already measured out, and you're thinking, do you drain it or do you not? And if it doesn't tell you, you don't know. But we tell you, don't drain it. But this is the crushed pineapple that's in its own juice and not heavy syrup. Okay, that looks awesome. You're doing great, Al. Maybe you need to get in the TV cooking show business. All right, so now we've got light brown sugar. And one of the reasons why we don't use the dark in this recipe is it gets so dark that you can't see those beautiful Elliott pecans, and we really want to highlight those. So we're just going to spread this out over the top of that crushed pineapple, and I've got the oven preheated at 325. And you know, earlier I said something about that aroma, and you said sometimes you feel like they're piping it in.
They are.
Because you're just smelling that toasted pecan. I absolutely love it. And I was very interested, you're going to put the whole thing? The whole thing in there. Yeah, you're putting the whole thing. Now, back to the cake mix part, and we've already taken it out of the box and put it in your bowl, but it's a 15.25 box of cake mix. And this, believe it or not, is one of those things that you end up with. The recipe was written 40 years ago, and the size of the cake mix box was different. So be sure when you buy it that you're getting the 15.25. Okay, Al, that looks good. All right, so I'm gonna move this over to your lovely wife, who thought she was going to a pig and cow farm when she met you. Okay, so you're gonna start with the cake mix on top of that.
Okay, and we'll spread that out just a little bit.
That looks great. So we've got the cake mix, we've got the Elliott pecans, and then we've got some melted butter. So, you know, basically, and I said to you, and I don't know whether y'all recommend this, but I freeze my pecans.
Yes, you can freeze them for years.
Yes, and so when they're in season, I take advantage of that, and I'll get way more than I need, so I can pull out of the freezer, you know, constantly. But Mary, while you're spreading that on, you know, this time of year, people get so busy. and you're looking for the gift for Aunt Jane or, you know, your cousin or whomever it might be, and you all have so many products on your website. So if you had to name some of the favorites this time of year, what would you say those were?
Well, my favorite is the pecan buttermilk pie, or either of the cakes. And we have a new peach cinnamon cake, but also there's one tin that you can get that has 3 different flavors.
Ooh,
and
now that would be good.
That's nice too.
I'm going to actually take that spreader while you're doing that and get that going. We've also melted the butter, and I told Mary earlier that one of my favorite pieces of equipment in this kitchen is the under-counter Wolf microwave, because you can just type in melt the butter and it knows exactly what to do.
Exactly.
All right, so let's put the pecans on, then we're going to cover it with the butter. So keep Pearson Farm in mind, and it's Pearson Farm, singular, when you go to their website, with all these different ideas for gifting coming up, and they are ready right now to take care of that order for you. And when we come back from the break, we're going to put all of this together in a beautiful display. We're going to talk more about what we did today, and we're going to be smelling this amazing cake. So come back with us in just a few minutes. Well, I think it's holiday time. What do y'all think?
Whew, sounds like it.
And we were just saying that you just start looking at it and you get hungry. So I am so thrilled about the way everything has turned out today, and just certainly want to suggest that you go to our website at VeryVera.com to get the recipes for what we made today. But Al, I'm going to start with you. You know, your family and this portrait of your entire family with all the 8 grandchildren and your 3 children, all of that is so wonderful. But if you had to give like just a closing remark about what your family has done with this business and where you feel like you are 4th generation.
Well, when I think about the family and you, at this stage, I think about my grandchildren. And that there are grandchildren that are being exposed to the farm, and growing up myself, riding around and cracking pecans with my grandfather and just spending time. And so you're exposed to the risks and the rewards and the work and the product and just everything to do with the farm. Then it's very natural to follow in that, and so that's what we do. We follow.
We're hoping.
And our family so far hadn't had enough sense to quit.
Oh my goodness, why would they? Well, let's kind of walk back through what we did today, and then we'll let Mary tell us about her beautiful dessert over here. So we started with the salmon. And we did a beautiful coating to go on top. It had olive oil and fresh parsley, your Elliott pecans that we cut into little pieces, and we baked that in a 375-degree oven for about 10 minutes. And as you can look at it and tell, it's a beautiful medium temperature on the inside. So you can do it plated with grits and asparagus, or you can make a salad. And we added to that, we kind of wanted to use some holiday colors with the green and red, but this is the cucumber salad out of our cookbook that is a really nice complement to a salad. And then we've got our rosemary biscuits to go with those. On this one, just with butter. With this one, we did a little bit of jam to go with it there. And then we moved into the pecan dump cake. And Al, man, you need to get in the kitchen. You did such a great job.
I need to get on that plate.
I know, absolutely. So on this one, we've got the cinnamon pecan that you all do as one of your products with a little vanilla ice cream. And over here, we actually have your dessert. So why don't we talk about that for a minute? This is the Praline Pecan Pound Cake.
Right, and it's big, as you can see, to feed a lot of people. And we don't use any preservatives or corn syrup in our cakes, because I wouldn't have known how to do that, because I make all these in my kitchen first, and then we go to the farm with it. So, and it makes a great gift. I think today people really want to get something for Christmas that they can eat and throw away the wrapper and not have something that, what am I going to do with this?
That's right.
So it's really, I think, giving gifts that are food now, especially with pecans because they're so healthy, is really a great idea.
Tell us about this praline topping. Is this a cooked topping or is it what?
Yes, we do the brown sugar and we melt it all and then we pour it over the top. And
the smell is fantastic. Again, I want to remind you, if you're thinking about holiday gifting, go to their website at pearsonfarm.com and look at all of the products, this being one of them. And as she said, it feeds a lot of folks. And then these pecans all freeze beautifully too, so while they're fresh and in season, get some, load up your freezer. It just makes for a wonderful gift. So one of the things I always say at the end of every show is no matter what you do it in good taste. You have certainly brought some good taste today. You said you were honored to have your pecans on this table.
Sure.
We are honored to have them as well. And I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. Come back and join us again next week.